I'm Hammy, I'm the Hammy Dressmaker. Welcome to the channel. So if you're new around here, thank you very much for joining me. I presume you're coming to see the Frugal Challenge, which I'll talk about momentarily. I've had an influx of new subscribers, so thank you for joining me and tuning in and giving me support. That's amazing because I'm brand new, really. So I am super excited about this challenge now. Normally I don't really join in challenges. The time frames and, you know, expectations of getting something ready, but I think this is there's enough time frame here, and you know, it's gentle enough for me to take this challenge on, and I'm really excited about it for a number of reasons. So just in case you have no idea what I'm talking about in terms of the Frugal Frocks Challenge, so this is run by the FRUGALISAMA, Sam, and also Rowan from the Yorkshire Sew Girl. And the idea is that you find a free pattern, or let's say you generate a pattern of some kind for free. You use some fabric from your stash, you sew it in the month of March, we all show it off in the 31st of March. This also has a bit of a so if you want to join in this challenge, which I think is super fun, then just make sure you hashtag Frugal Frocks 2021. Make sure that you copy tag Rowan and Sam in, so that they get to see the results of your challenge. So for this, talking about personal and why I'm so excited about it. When I first started sewing 7 years ago, I had a really hard time starting because of my size. I am a curvy lady, as I'm sure many of you are, and it was difficult to even find paid patterns that accommodated my size. And when I went on to, you know, help chats and said, you know, I'm this size, can anyone recommend a pattern? Pretty much the universal response was, you need to learn how to upgrade a pattern or make it bigger. Back then I didn't know how to sew a straight line, and I effectively had to learn this kind of skill early in order to continue my hobby. So if none of you have noticed, in the last 12 months there's been a real there's been a real increase of size range from pattern companies, particularly indie pattern companies, in response to the Curvy Sewing Collective's article, and effectively a group of plus size sews turning around and saying, you know what, you're right, I'm not going to buy your patterns anymore. So that kind of prompted this kind of change within the sewing pattern industry. However, I wanted to find out whether that kind of change of mindset actually trickled down into free sewing patterns. Now, free sewing patterns, I will admit, they don't make any profit off. It's a gift. But it also has a marketing purpose as well. If you use a free sewing pattern, you're on the website, you might have a bit of a mooch, you might find something else that you're going to pay for. So it is a really good marketing tool for these companies. Also, a lot of companies are complaining that they've done all this cost to increase their size range, and the plus size community are not buying, so they think of withdrawing patterns, etc. But if you don't accommodate someone's size, then how do you expect them to find you? Well, free sewing patterns are a fantastic idea. I've also spoken quite openly about my kind of distrust, I think is the word, of free sewing patterns from magazines. They tend to be quite small, kind of size ranged, and you know, in my opinion, you're always buying the magazine 9 times out of 10 for the pattern rather than the articles. I might be alone in that, but when I said that, I got a lot of response where people went, yes, that's same with me. I started sewing because I believed, and I still believe, that you can do it in a way that is economical and budget friendly, and get clothes that are going to fit you and are going to make you feel amazing. So I kind of want to explore kind of more kind of, if I can't find a pattern necessarily within the size range, kind of give you the advice that I feel like I needed kind of when I first started sewing. So I want to give a shout out actually to some resources that I found, simply because you can go and follow them, and you'll find, if not for this challenge, you'll find some useful resources on that. And I think anyone who puts together a blog post or a YouTube post where they go out and find these free patterns, it is really difficult. It is way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So if I produce anything in this challenge, it's thanks to these guys kind of, you know, doing that work for us, and I think they deserve canonisation. So my first resource that I went to was Jess from Broaden the Seams. I have talked about this blog before. Yeah, all praise to Jess. She's one of the half of Moon and Broad, so she's a plus size specialist, and the hip size that she doesn't kind of promote a pattern on a blog unless it's 50 inches hip plus. So that was my first form of resource. At the moment, my size range is what may be called in certain circles small fat. I'm not insulting myself and I'm not insulting anyone else. I'm just kind of using the language that community use in reference. That means I'm in between standard size range patterns and plus size patterns, so I can kind of flip back and forth on both. So her resource is really good, and I think we need more resources like Jess. She's brilliant, thank you. Sustainability, another person that is doing really good work. She has 100 free sewing patterns, and again, to kind of help the community out, she's actually gone back through all the links to find out what the size range is, so you're not clicking on and being disappointed when you go on it. So thank you, Vicky, that was a really good resource. I've got to give a shout out to Frugalisama. Her work in the last few months on Frugal Fridays, amazing, thank you. And also Elisa from Thoughtful Creativity, in my opinion, the queen of the free pattern. She's quite a small framed lady, but if if these kind of fit, weight, size range sort of issues don't affect you, and you don't know who Elisa is, go and check her out. Are you finished? No. Okay, let's continue. So, oh yes. So I'm properly kind of organised for a change. I wrote down loads of notes. MELLY SEWS also has a YouTube channel, and she also has a blog post, and she had a super useful kind of not tutorial because it was way too quick, but kind of how to upgrade any women's size pattern, say from a size 8 up to a size, whatever you are. As long as it's a woman's pattern, you can upgrade it to whatever size you want. It will take quite a lot of work, but she references resources from Thread magazine and how to actually properly upgrade kind of a pattern for yourself. And it will be slow work. You have to kind of do it kind of one or two sizes at a time until you reach your size. But again, that's a really good resource. I will point someone to it. All of these things I will try and remember to put in the link. I don't know how to do links, that's why I've not done them before, but somebody pointed out to me I should do them, so I'm going to try. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some free patterns that I found. The Alcoy, which is smallest bust size of 32 inch, bust 24 inch, waist 33 hip, larger size 48 bust, 37 inch hip and 46 inch hip. So I'd still have to upgrade the pattern, but it's quite a sweet pattern. I'll insert a picture. The one that I found, which I'm really am considering kind of buying, is by Schwinn Designs, and I found this through Broaden the Seams, and it's called the Ryan dress. It has 3 different length options. Small is 30-inch bust, 23-inch waist, and 30-inch hip. Biggest is 49-inch bust, 43-inch waist, and 49 to 52-inch hip. So I would fit into that. It's a kind of drop sleeve kind of pattern. I do have some fabric kind of ideas for that one. And then kind of after that, I kind of ran out of inspiration, really. I know a lot of people will be talking about mood patterns, which has an incredibly big size range, and the patterns are really sweet. But the amount of fabric, because they are a fabric store, is quite large. When I buy fabric these days, I tend to buy fabric intending for kind of separate, you know, shirt, trousers, that sort of thing. So to fulfill the second part of this challenge, where you get something from your stash, is going to be a bit of a challenge. So I might have to mix and match fabrics, etc. But it is other ways you can find patterns, and you can mix and match them. So one of my favourites that I found was from the Avid Seamstress, and it's the slop sleeve drop. You can extend it out for a floaty dress, or you could even do a boho kind of gathered dress with using some elastic. That would be quite sweet. And I also found one dress from Mood Sewciety, which only requires 2.5 meters of fabric, which would be for a knit. It's quite sweet, kind of like up here, drop down, some lovely button details as well. I also had a look through my paper pattern stash, the magazines, effectively. I found a couple which are possibilities. What I wanted to do is try and find one which I knew there'd be a lot of, just in case you really fall in love with the pattern. You could find it on eBay if you really wanted to, or inspire you to kind of look through your own fabric stash to find. And this is the one that I found. That's quite sweet. So I'm going to show you some of the fabrics that I've picked out of my stash, and kind of my thought processes kind of behind the picks that I've made. This challenge is not going to end for me when we finish in March, because I just found it was a rabbit hole of resources and things to use. And as I say, I want to kind of use this as an opportunity to build resources for someone who may be new to sewing, maybe of a curvier person, kind of say, not just go extend the hip, actually show you what that means and some of the resources to use and things as well. So in terms of ones that don't strictly fit into the challenge, and I know Sam will be watching this, so if you do use this idea, she will know. But I did find in my cupboard this book, which is Freehand Fashion. So it's not strictly sewing patterns as such, but there is a tutorial where somebody actually does it, which is Gaberdashery Vlog 16. She does a really fun project with Megan from Pigeon Wishes, where they make, and I'll show you the dress, this, which is a back wing top. And essentially what it is, it's a poncho with the sides kind of sewed up according to your measurements. I've noticed that on a recent blog that Alicia from Thoughtful Creativity did something similar. She did it in a woven fabric. This is in a knit, but essentially what you would need to do is just increase the length of the fabric, and Bob's your uncle, you've got a dress. Now the reason why I'm saying use this book rather than follow Gaberdashery is I tried to do that and I've had a sewing fail. So in the interest of honesty and taking the mickey out myself, I'll show you what I've done. Hang on a second. So it's really important you cut things on the right fold. So I'll show you what I've done. So this is supposed to kind of extend out to be, you know, a collar piece, and can you see what I've done with the hem? It's supposed to be half the pattern now. So, but do watch that vlog, it is super fun, and it might inspire you to think that self-drafting isn't necessarily the hardest thing in the world. As someone who's never done I've had an experiment of self-drafting, but it's been a nervous proposition. So again, this challenge might inspire me to kind of go and do that work to create a bodice block. One of the YouTube channels that I found that use a bodice block and then manipulate it a lot is a lady called ZOE DIY. She has some fantastic dresses, beautiful, really good stuff. In terms of tutorial of how to fit a block, one of my favourite YouTubers is a lady called Priscilla from Kim Dave, and the reason why I'm picking her particularly out is that she does it slowly. She goes through it very slowly with you, and then on each kind of blog kind of after that where she uses that pattern, she'll bring it out and show you how to manipulate that bodice block. But she is really clear, talks slowly, good, you know, a good blog. Okay, so let me show you some of the things that I've got planned. So in terms of the Ryan by Schwinn, I'll put it at the bottom again, can't remember. I showed this fabric off on my last blog. This is a Renaissance print. Now I've only got 2 meters of this, so this is a perfect one for trying to mix and match. I think my failure would kind of go quite nicely with this. It picks up the red from the flower detail, so I think that would look quite sweet. In terms of the avid seamstress, you know, make it longer, drop sleeve. I found this satin crepe in my stash, so I've got 2 meters of this, and then I bought a further meter of it, so I might have to kind of do a slash line and do a join up. I found a pattern by Made for Mermaids for a skirt. So one of the patterns that FRUGALISAMA Sam kind of showed off, and I know pretty much it's been highlighted on every blog, but I just think it's so sweet, is the Galaxy Tee. And using the Made for Mermaids knit dress kind of pattern, this sort of ponte, and do a kind of kick pleat at the back, and I think that would look really nice. For something like the batwing top, which again, not part of the challenge because it would be a cheat, I think. I've got this kind of ponte, so you might see this kind of a dress turn into a dress. And in terms of the Love Sewing dress, I pulled this kind of fabric. I'm not even sure what it is, but this kind of fabric kind of out my stash. It's, you know, I really love the colours in it, but I can't think of a project to use it for, so it seems fairly perfect for it. And if I go for a t-shirt dress, one resource I forgot to mention. Loopy Mabels Closet, Jane from Loopy Mabels Closet, about 8 months ago did a blog series on how to basically t-shirt patterns, free t-shirt patterns that you found. So in terms of kind of that, you can always blend a waistline in with a skirt pattern and make a dress out of it. And she found loads and loads and loads of t-shirt patterns. I'm not sure what the size range is like, but I'm sure you'll find something in that list which would be kind of worth kind of downloading and hacking. And final kind of resource is cloning your clothes. So there's another YouTuber called Annika Victoria, a young lady from, I think, well, she's from down under anyway, and she does lots and lots of kind of cloning of clothes. and I found this dress in my wardrobe. It is, well, it's seen better days, but I really love the fit, and I'm thinking about maybe doing a clone of this using a ponte fabric. So it's got some pleats. I know enough now kind of about drafting where I can take a guess as to what to do, so that might be quite an interesting project. Anyway, I hope I've given you loads of ideas, even if it's not necessarily download a pattern and go, about how to kind of hat patterns, resources that you can use. If you do anything, I'd love to know based on this recommendation, and I'll try and link everything that I found kind of below here. So thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoy what I've done today. I've again been very rambly, but I knew I had a lot to fit into quite a short time frame. I don't want to kind of go on for hours and hours and hours and bore you senseless, because it was a proper rabbit hole going down. And again, thank you to all of the creators, bloggers, anyone who you know goes and does that work and finds these resources for us all to use. Thanks very much. And I also have a little thank you kind of to a viewer as well. My fabric fairy delivered me some fabric, so my anonymous donor, thank you very much. I absolutely love those fabrics. I'm not including them here because not everyone has access to lovely people like you. In terms of in the interest of the challenge, I have worn a shirt. And this shirt is from the fabric store, and it is a free pattern. So it is much hacked because I didn't have enough fabric, which might become a theme of this challenge. But I cut off the sleeves and hemmed them. But for this, you can certainly do a shift dress. You just need to extend the panels. And I think for this, because it's quite loose fitting, I would probably do it with some sort of tie, do rouleau loops, and then do a tie, and I think that would make a quite sweet little dress as well. So use your imaginations, guys. Enter the competition, enter kind of the fun. I'm really looking forward to everyone's blogs coming up. I've really enjoyed them. I'm going to kind of post kind of links to the next two ladies in the challenge, day before, day after. I know Sharon Sews is definitely before following me, I think. I love her channel, she's great. And thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you have a good week. See you later. Bye.